Sorry, I don't think you guys could hear me. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please, if you let me know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please indicate with a Y. Indicate with a Y if you can hear me. Oh my God, I've been yapping away, and I know sometimes my audio can be problematic. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, welcome or greetings, Mr. Rock. I appreciate you stopping by. Happy Sunday to everyone once again. Because clearly you guys didn't hear me at the beginning. Happy Sunday to all of you. I hope you've had a great rest this weekend. I hope everything is going well. It's nice and sunny over here. It gets cold sometimes. I don't understand. The weather is messed up, but hey, sorry for another day. Yeah, so I wanted to come and talk about this paternity fraud up and down. So what happened was, I think there was this Chelsea player, whatever his name is, right? The guy, apparently, the children he had turned out they were not his. So he filed for divorce from his wife yesterday. And the whole of Twitter went crazy. Literally, like people were mad, upset. Like, what? All these years, this man has been taking care of children that were not his, that, those children they actually belonged to the wife's ex, apparently. So the man was I mean, everybody was upset, and it started a huge conversation about paternity fraud. Now, I saw earlier on today, I saw like an article where they're saying like there's 34% paternity fraud in Jamaica, followed by Nigeria. So Jamaica is the highest in the world, followed by Nigeria, which is the second, like 30%. Hey, that's a lot too. So I know, I mean, people, I've been in spaces where people have talked about, sometimes the hospital makes mistakes and swap children. There's also the instance where some people, I don't know what happens. There's been different scenarios that have been painted lately since this conversation started and all of that. So I don't know. You guys let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. I don't intend to be here very long, but I just wanted to touch on this topic for really quickly. I mean, at the end of the day, me, I don't know. This is really, really, I mean, if you feel like this is a big deal, then yeah, go ahead and do a paternity test, to be honest, so that you are sure, right? What's the point? Just get sure from the beginning. And so okay, these children are my own. Because what's the point? I saw another video of it was a judge. The guy is a judge, older man, like in his 80s or so. So he said a family, whether his brother was ill and they needed someone to match the brother's blood or something like that. And when they were now checking, of course, in the process, they did DNA. He found out that the children that the wife gave to him were not his own. So he had been training and taking care of his children all his life. This man is in his 80s. I think he's a judge in the United States. In his 80s, just finding out that none of his children belong to him. Hey! I don't know how to feel about that, though. I don't know how to feel about that. It's crazy. So that has like started like a huge conversation now going around. Like, people should ensure that they get, like, DNA now is more important than child education. That's what they're saying. You first of all want to make sure it's first of all your child before you even do any child education. Is that not crazy? And I'm wondering, has it always been like this, or is this because of social media? This whole paternity fraud thing, has it always been like this? Of social media has really shone the light on a lot of things. you know that's what I'm thinking, but I don't know. I'm just this is what I've just been thinking in my head since the conversation has been going on. Like, is it possible that it has always been like this, or is it something that's just started? you know because, man, this does not, I don't understand what's going on, right? You would expect, you would think that, okay, somebody says they're pregnant for who they say they're pregnant for, but at the end of the day, it's looking like there's fraud inside. You understand? It's really sad though, because the man that filed for divorce for his wife yesterday, who's a Chelsea player, The man is very hurt, like he feels betrayed. And then some people were saying, no, it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be the biological, but that's just weak. I think that's just, you know, um, being insensitive, because you don't know how that man feels. How can the man who spent all his energy, all his he talk about all that time he probably spent with the children and all of that. I think he has a right to mourn, you know. Now wow, people they do things for this world though. Me, I know I don't understand, sir. I don't understand, but people they definitely do things for this world. My heart goes out to those who feel hurt by this, who feel, like they've been cheated out, like they've imposed on them what was not theirs. My heart goes out to them. I hope that whatever it is that they can resolve it. But yes, please, me, I'm in full support of paternity fraud, because now it's become like a gender. They're almost turning it into a gender war. I beg. Reach like that to I beg my people. People, anyone who's involved in it, you guys, all of us, everyone should take it easy. It's not the end of the world, though. I beg, I beg, I beg. People are bad on both sides. Women bad, men bad. I beg, Mona take it easy. If you want to do paternity test, DNA test before you do omugo or abi whatever for your children, please go ahead and do it. In light of what's going on in the world right now, in the society, by all means, do it. Nobody's stopping you. Yeah, nobody's stopping you. But don't turn it into a war of worlds, because you feel slighted that, oh, how could she have done this? How could she have done that? We all know there are things that happen too in the world by other gender. So I beg, Mona not turn this thing to war. Mona not turn out to fight. It's simple. If you feel like, okay, in light of all these things that are happening, this is the angle I want to take, please, by all means, go and take that angle and leave people alone. You understand? Let people suffer the consequences of their actions. If that is the case, I'm not, I'm not, I'm not in support of bad behavior. Any woman who does that is wrong on all levels. You shouldn't do that for somebody that is the father of your child. There's some people who have agreements where maybe it's a fertility issue and all of that and whatever. There's been a lot that's been said around this fertility thing and paternity thing. I've learned so much. I've heard so my ears want bust. I've heard so much. I'm like, wow, yeah. So this kind of things they happen. For inside marriage, this kind of thing they happen. Now, wow. But having said that, though, I just think everybody should just chill. I beg, if you find yourself in spaces like that, okay, fine, it has happened. What next? If the woman wants to leave the woman, then fine, that's his decision, right? But let them not turn it into a gender war. Not everybody is like that. Not everybody is going to scam their spouses. Not everybody is like that. So please, while we are talking on this subject and giving our takes on this subject, let's keep humanity first in all of it. I beg, and let's be kind. We don't know the details. We don't know, we can never know the full details. It's what we hear, right? And people have a right to take a side in this instance. What's wrong is wrong, like I said earlier. What's wrong is wrong. If you scammed your way into having children with a man, and then you now go and impose those children on that man, then you deserve what comes to you. You really do, right? But remember also, there's some people who wouldn't take that route, for reasons best known to them, and it's okay for them to make that decision based on how they feel. So let's not abeg, humanity first. Though already the world is already crazy as it is. Let's not add more to it. Now the 2 cents when I get be that I just rush. I say make I rush come drop my 2 cents for the matter. I feel sooner later on today, but I'm not sure. My day is quite busy today, but I might see you guys later on. But Mr. Rock, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm gonna come back and play. Maybe I should even do that, because there was a video that interested me that Kenneth Okonkwo did with Shehu. That's not beside I really like the guy like that, but hey, he went to sit down with Shehu. Kenneth Okonkwo is always giving me joy. Hey, that man is always giving me joy with his takes. You know, when he said, I think the clip I listened to, he said, anarchy looms. Hey, that man is an actor. He's a good actor. Man, everything, the way he said it and all of that. I always enjoy Kenneth Okonkwo's take in everything. I really do. So he gave an interview. I think it's like a 30-minute interview, if I'm not mistaken. Let me play for you guys. Let's just do it. Because I don't know. I can't guarantee that I'm going to come back. So might as well just do it now and knock it out of the way. And so we can move to other things. Ay, yeah, yeah. Now, wow, inside life, things they happen. Did you guys see what Peter Obi has been doing? The guy has been going all over, building boreholes, changing people's lives one person at a time. My president, making me proud every single day. Hey, that man, he has become a bone in the throat of the establishment. They don't know anything they want they can do. They can't do anything to him. They are watching. They can't do anything. This man has gone round and built boreholes for people, touching lives, lifting people up everywhere he goes, sharing his smile, sharing his goodwill, sharing his kindness. No, that man. I think this type of revolution is what is. I think this is the approach to revolution in Africa as a whole, because we've lost too many people. We've lost too many. Guys, I'm changing my device, so bear with me. You did, Xavier, you woke up to that interview. Was even learning from. I'm telling you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm switching device, so I'll be silent for a minute, but I'll be right back. Can you guys hear me now? Hopefully, you can hear me. Let me play that video. I was like, that video was giving me joy. I said, hey, this man, no, they bust my brain. Not be all the cho people. Talk, no action, nothing to back it up. Nothing. I've never seen people like that in my life. Let me see. Sheun Okin, Abi, that's his name. Sheun Okin Biscuits. Okin Baloye podcast. And Kenneth Okonkwo. No, Kenneth Okonkwo, that man a real actor. See his face, everything. I was just cracking up. The way he says it and all, I say, wow, this guy, fire. Where is this thing, yo? What's the podcast called? Let me see. Otherwise, I'll just go to my. Yeah, let me go. I'll just go to my. What's it called? Mic on. Okay, mic on, whatever. Hey with me, I'm pulling up the video. Bingo. I think I got it. Right? Yeah, I got it. So I'm gonna share it right now. I know that Xavier, that interview sweet my belly. I say, God, this is an amazing man. Let me see.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mycon podcast. I'm Sean Okimaloye. This podcast, as you may know, is an open platform for individuals from all walks of life to share their perspectives on issues that matter, not only to them, but also affect a large number of people. The Mycon podcast runs independently from our weekday show on China's television, which is Politics Today, and the weekend edition, Sunday Politics. But Kenneth Okonkwo, a veteran Nigerian actor, lawyer, and politician, is my guest on today's episode. I sat with him, and it was obvious that we had a lot to unwrap. So many topics to get his views on. Well, we took it piece by piece and had a frank conversation about Nigeria, Nigerians, and the future of our nation. He's a man who wears many caps. He's also has a way with words, so he brought some steam and left no stone unturned, either in addressing the events of the past or judging activities of the present. What is his take on Tinubu's Nigeria, the APC and the Labour Party crisis, and his role as a prominent member of the party? There's only one way to find out. Watch this interview. Thank you so much indeed for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for bringing me. And this should be the first time I'm here.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, everybody that is joining in.
Thank you. 2023 elections, here we are. And we heard so much from you and the way you felt. And you spoke passionately about the ticket of the Labour Party and Peter Obi. And perhaps what is intriguing to a lot of us who have known you for years is how much of a golden face you are on the tube when you were in Hollywood. Do you miss it?
I will always be an actor forever. And it's a job that does not have a retirement age. I carried myself into the movie world. I did not bring movie world into me. That is why, amongst all the things I ever read, theater arts wasn't one of them. So I am just a born actor.
So you never studied theater arts?
Not even for one day. And remember, because we were the pioneers, nobody asked you whether you, as a matter of even the producers, most of them then never studied theater arts. So they just look at you and see whether you can interpret your role. And that's it. And so I carried myself into the movie world because from the time go, as I was growing up, people look at me as an object to watch. The way I walk, the way I talk. So they actually made me to know that I am a natural actor. And that was how the interest blossomed. So I now went into the acting world myself, knowing that I have gotten the seal of approval from people by my natural self. And so I just moved in there, carried my natural self.
I mean, if you were to choose between Laura and acting, which one would you choose?
Both.
But you know what they say about code of professional ethics in law. I mean, you almost cannot do any other thing aside practice of law. So how do you juggle both?
The other one is the promotion of culture and arts. It's allowed when you're doing something to promote the culture of the people. When we started it, it was not to be a profession. It was to be a hobby. Just like you play football in the evenings as hobby. It became so successful that people now wanted more. That was how we started making more. Every profession I've always subscribed to has always been very conservative I was trained first as an executive gentleman in business administration. I was trained as a reverend gentleman in theology. I was trained as a diplomatic gentleman in diplomacy. That was where I did my international on diplomacy. And I was trained as a learned gentleman. You see, all these things are very conservative. And when you have all these things on your head, you must have to develop ways to unwind. So entertainment has always been my best way to unwind. That was how I chose the movie world, you know? Whoever subscribed to be an actor cannot say he's a saint. He cannot lay hand on being a good guy. So I wasn't a good guy when I was growing up. You know what I mean? I am an entertainer.
You're a bad guy.
Well, I am an entertainer. You know what I mean? So,
but which role would you
it
say?
Makes you to unwind very well. You know, you read, your head is full. Then you go out and cavort and play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your head is empty again and you're back to conservativeness. So,
what role would you say that will never leave your memory as an actor?
If I say this, you will be surprised. But the truth is that all the roles will not leave my memory. And the reason is this. I make a choice of the movies I play.
Really?
Yes. I read all my scripts. So if it doesn't move me while reading the script, I'm not going to make a choice of it. All the movies I made, I remember all of them. So they made impact on me first. Name them. Is it living in bondage? Is it betrayal? Is it taboo? Is it culprit? Is it world apart? Is it Ganigwe? Is it ROC? Whichever one. Because I will be convinced first in the world you're creating and in the lesson you want to communicate before I accept the role. So all of them, but you would not negate the fact that by the law of preeminence, living in bondage has preeminence. And they say the first cult is always the deepest. So by virtue of that first cult, it was very deep. You know, it announced you.
So you're still living in the bondage of living in bondage role?
No. I am delivered. And you know, we did a sequel to the Living in Bondage in 2020, yeah? And you saw in that 2020, you know what they said? Breaking free. So even with the concept of living in bondage, I am no longer living in bondage. So I am delivered, you know?
But being a ritualist in a movie and being a priest, I've seen you act, and being a lover boy, which is more challenging to you?
All of them. Because the whole idea of movie is like you are replicating the world. And I play lead 98% of the time. And the world's full of ups and downs. Whether you're a priest, whether you are a prince, whether you are a saint, the world is up and down. So every of those roles was challenging to me because of the cyclical nature of human existence. So all of them.
So if you were to kiss on the movie set, would you take it?
Yes. I took it before.
And you do it again?
Anytime. If a doctor is supposed to operate on a woman, even if he's a born-again doctor, will he go in to do the job or not? Will she be wearing clothes?
As a theologian, I imagine that maybe kissing might not be a very comfortable thing for you to act in.
I am bringing the issue of the doctor to tell you about theology. When you are doing something in prosecution of your job, it becomes your job, becomes your work. You want to replicate the reality of life. If you can't do it well, look for another profession. If you're a doctor and you say you're a theologian and you don't want to see naked women because you say that in the Bible they say don't see her nakedness, look for another job.
I mean, when you were in Nollywood, it wasn't as profitable as it is right now.
No.
Was
we were the originators of the profiteering nature of Nollywood. I made fortune as a Nollywood actor. It was just 2020 that I decided to start winding up.
Are you a retired actor, Nollywood actor?
If you have been in a profession for 30 years and you're consumed by the love of your nation, you would come to a point where you will think that you've done enough. You don't retire from acting, but maybe from the public exhibition of acting. I've made a determination that should decrease so that my fight for a new Nigeria will increase.
But if you see a role today that you're convinced...
I've seen roles and I've turned them down. There's no time anymore for it.
So Nollywood, a part of you in Nollywood is dead or is in hibernation.
I've already told you there's no retirement age. A part of me in Nollywood will always be alive forever. I could go in to build a movie school. I could go in to be a producer as an executive producer. So there's no retirement age. So that you are not showing yourself on the screen doesn't mean you're no longer in Nollywood.
What will make you take your role now?
When we first arrived at St. Jude, it was just...
Maybe if Nigeria becomes better than America.
Really?
Yes.
And do you see that happening anytime soon?
In my generation, the possibility is there because we have all it takes. We have men, we have materials, we have money. The only thing that is lacking is the synergistic effect. The power to combine, to utilize, to allocate these resources optimally to produce the desired goods and services that will make us achieve our objectives. That leadership that has the ability to inspire people towards unusual creative ability, not to manipulate or intimidate them. That is what is lacking. And that is what we are coming in to produce. And we will do it by the grace of God.
As part of your training in theology, you're a theologian. Is it something that you could take at some point in your life? A full-time priest, being a full-time priest? Would you be willing to take that?
I don't think that I introduced myself or you did a prophet. So I don't know what will happen tomorrow. But I'm already a teacher of the gospel because everybody who is a theologian is called to teach the gospel. And
so are you a born-again Christian?
By the grace of God, I am. That does not make me to invoke any spirit of perfection on myself. I'm a born-again Christian, and I thank God I am. If you were a bad boy and you want to be a good guy, you can't do it by your might or by your power. There has to be a supervening spiritual force that will regenerate your body, because this flesh cannot be born again. It can only be subordinated to the supervening power of the Spirit. You need such intervention to become a different man. That was what God helped me to do. It can only be done by the grace of God. And I think I'm better off for it.
So if God calls you to become a priest today, or maybe God has been calling you and you've not been listening enough. So we could see the Reverend Kenneth Okonkwo. Is it possible?
Okay. I'm laughing because so if God is calling me, it's Sheung that is hearing it.
I might see the calling on your life, but you may not even be hearing it yet.
You see, I do not believe that showcasing God must be done in a formal way. You should showcase God by the way you live your life every day. Jesus Christ did not tell you that the way you will identify his followers should be by what they say. Indeed, he said, some will call me Lord, Lord, and will even do miracles. But on the judgment day, I will say, get behind me. I don't know you, you workers of iniquity. Then when I was reading that, I was like, how then do you know? He said, by their fruits we shall know them. Don't you think that if all these people that are parading themselves as Christians in Nigeria are truly Christians, don't you think we will not be having the problem we're having today? What are their fruits? So I'm not carried away by the formal advertisement of anybody as a man of God or this portfolio or this. What are your fruits?
Are you a man of God?
I am a child of God.
Not a man of God.
I would not want to go by that name. I am Kenneth Okonkwo, the servant. So I would want to be a child of God.
I mean,
you know what Jesus said?
Yeah.
He said, the kingdom of God are for the people like these children. So when people arrogate themselves all these names, I just know that they've not met Christ. I am a child of God.
The gospel now, these days, for some priests, is very juicy and it looks very profitable.
That is why you have so many men of God. When we were in the university, when it was the Deeper Life brand of born again, you didn't see most of these people there. When you started seeing the dreadlock style of born again, the yeah. Money, 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 money. Good. Then everybody put on suit and became born again. And the devil went to the shop and bought King James Version of the Holy Bible and headed to the church. You know, the style of the devil, if I cannot get them by persecution, I will get them by compromise.
So you think the devil has compromised the church?
One of the headquarters where the devil live very well now is in most churches. And you can quote me on that.
Based on what you see?
Based on what I see, based on what I know, based on the natural progression of the manipulations of the devil. Devil will start by intimidation, by punishment, by persecution, just like he started in the Bible. The devil discovered that when he started persecuting the church, they started scattering. And as they are scattering, they are carrying the gospel wherever they went to, and the gospel was growing. So he now said, no, let me use the leader of the world. And when he becomes born again, if he declares the state a state religion, the bishop doesn't need to fast again and cast me and bind me to get money. Instead, we just give him money. So all the things that they have been praying to get, they don't pray anymore because it's given to them. But they don't know that that is what is going to compromise their faith.
So these posterity preaching pastors, you are against such?
I am not against it. I am against prosperity without salvation. Prosperity must be based on salvation. It must be based on the blessings of God makes one rich and adds no sorrow to it. If there is anything you're giving in for that prosperity, it's no longer from God. Because God said, if God can give his only begotten son freely for us, what else can he not freely give to us? So it has to be prosperity. I'm not an agent of poverty. I've never preached it. I don't look it. But I'm an agent of hard work, mixed with grace will make you to make that money and you spend it in a manner that will glorify God and glorify the existence of man.
And I mean, there are those who think and perceive you as a very intolerant, religious wise, especially when you moved against the Muslim ticket. And there are those who have described you as politically naive, that you understand less of the Nigerian politics. That's why you think so. That for things to work, and it happens that you may be wrong at the end of the day, thinking that a Muslim ticket wasn't the way to go.
First and foremost, I accepted Muslim Christian ticket. I campaigned for a Muslim, a northern Muslim, when it was even unpopular to do it in my place. And I have done it twice.
With President Buhari.
Musa Yaradua, President Buhari. These are Muslims from the north, from the Sharia compliant states. I have no regrets. Most of my political friends are Muslims. So when you go Muslim ticket, I rejected it because it's unconstitutional.
What part of the Constitution is this?
We are talking about Section 14. We are talking about, the Constitution says, the composition of any government and the conduct of its affairs must be done in such a manner as to recognize the federal character. You must recognize the diversity of your country. It's Section 14, 3 and 4. And he said, the reason is this, by the Constitution, so that your government can command national loyalty and give everybody a sense of belonging. You know the truth. The people that are suffering most in this government today are Muslims. So what has the Muslim ticket benefited them? It was a political strategy. It was not a religious strategy.
But it worked.
It failed.
Because they won the election.
Through technical glitch.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that technical glitch glitched the original election. And by 4:30 a.m., when people were asleep, they gave us results that emanated from technical glitch. They failed.
But those who believe that your position as to who won the election was wrong, legally,
religion,
and procedurally. INEC declared the person who won the election. The court, at two different occasions, declared that Bola Tinubu and the APC won the election, but you don't believe it.
Right. I was in the Court of Appeal. The first orders we asked the Court of Appeal to give to us was an order that INEC should allow us to inspect the beavers. 3 orders. INEC obeyed none of it. And yet INEC went to the same court and told the court to give them order to reconfigure the beavers before we inspected it. And the court did nothing. And then when we proceeded in the hearing of the case, the court now said we had 21 days to produce every evidence, which INEC refused to give us. And then they say subpoena witnesses cannot come to give witness, they cannot come to give evidence after 21 days. 176,000 polling units. They say we should prove it polling unit by polling unit. And you have 3 weeks.
Is that not the position of the law?
I disagreed with them because from the law I read, it couldn't have been the position. Because you are dealing with an adversary who you say did something wrong. The adversary has interest in hiding information from you. And then you, the court, you're saying, if he can hide this information and this evidence from you, for 21 days, your case is dead. It couldn't have been the intendment of the law.
But the court says that, I mean, for you, you are claiming and alleging that there is no substantial compliance with the electoral law.
Oh, yes.
And the law says you must prove beyond reasonable doubt.
The law is very clear on electronic transmission. Now, let me tell you the rule of law. In one case, Miscellaneous Offences Tribunal versus Okorafor, they defined rule of law as doing everything according to the law and making sure the government actions are done according to the law. And that case excluded discretionary powers and arbitrary powers of government. And you know what the courts ruled? They said INEC had the discretion to choose whether they would transmit electronically or not. That is tangentially against even the fundamental definition of rule of law. No creature of law is allowed to use arbitrary power or discretionary power to do anything. That's against rule of law, because the definition of rule of law is that everything must be done according to law. And the law is very clear. You must transmit electronically. Section 65 is there. Then, if you don't want to say section 65 because they don't use certain words, what about section 64?
Mr. Okonkwo, what is the standard of proof in an election matter?
Election matters are sui generis. The standard of proof is balance of probability because it's a civil proceeding. However, if you are alleging any offense within the criminal proceeding by the Evidence Act, the standard of proof of that particular allegation, which is tainted with crime, must be beyond reasonable doubt. So these are two different things.
So I'm asking, the reason why I asked for the standard of proof in this matter, which is civil in nature, of course, when you say that people have manipulated the process, you're talking a criminal dimension into what is generally a civil situation. But the question is that those who believe that the lawyers in the Peter Obi matter did not do justice in trying as much as possible to tell the court that the election was rigged.
Now,
and that those who say the lawyers should blame themselves and not blame the process of the law.
No. The process of the law is very clear. The court told you that INEC has discretion. Where is it in the law? And I'm saying it is fundamentally wrong because that goes against the judgment of Supreme Court, against what rule of law has defined itself as. I told you that rule of law rules out discretionary powers. And INEC is a creation of the law. INEC itself made rules and regulations and say they must transmit electronically. After that 2023 election, I watched your program and you were asking some of the electoral officers, because you wanted yourself to know what is the position of the law. Are you going to transmit electronically? And they say yes. They will transmit electronically. That is the position of the law in your program. Meanwhile, the court said no, that's not the position of the law, because they have a discretion to do whatever they like. Can you imagine? And the Supreme Court supported it. I disagree with that, and I will continue to disagree with that perpetually, because it's a destruction of rule of law. INEC is a creation of the law, and INEC must do all its work according to the law. A creation of the law is telling you what the law is, and you, the court, is saying no, that's not the law. Is that not ridiculous?
Now, those who believe that the elections are over, the winner has been declared, the losers have been declared, is it possible that Kenneth Okonkwo move on from this?
Why not?
Have you moved on?
I have not moved on because you have not moved on. Why did you ask me?
Because of your belief and your standpoint.
Good.
Which may need some clarity. And that's why I'm asking you.
That's why I clarify. So if you move on, I will move on.
Have you accepted that Bola Tinubu is Nigeria's president?
I've been asked this thing before. The Supreme Court is the final court of the land. I said the judgment of the Supreme Court has bestowed constitutionality on his regime, but not democracy. Democracy is the government of the people. The power must verifiably flow from the people. I have not been convinced that his power flew from the people because the people have not been told, according to the Electoral Act, Section 62, they've not been given their results, polling unit by polling unit, and tabulated and calculated, an answer given. If you have seen such, please let me know. I have not. And in mathematics, if you go straight to code the answer without the formula, they will tell you probably you stole it. So if you have seen the formula with which they arrived at that conclusion, you as a journalist, polling unit by polling unit, I will be willing to cross-check it.
The judiciary,
when we went to
Mr.
court,
Okonkwo.
when we went to court, by the IREF portal, we were able to calculate to show that we won the election in Benue and we won the election in Rivers. But they said, no, it's not admissible because he came by a subpoena witness, which brought his evidence after the 21 days. So sorry.
The judiciary is a leg in our democratic process. So
Yes,
if the
it ought to
judiciary
be a
says
leg.
President Tinubu is the president,
That is why he's answering president.
yeah, but do you see him as your president though?
I wouldn't know what you're saying. I said the Supreme Court is the final court. The first statement I made was that I disagree with the Supreme Court, but because I'm a Democrat, I accept the judgment. That is the judgment the Supreme Court said. And that is what I accepted.
But will you be
Oh
willing, for
wait,
example,
what
because
is
we're
this
like,
Sheun guy asking? Abemona not vex say I pause this video. What is wrong with this Sheun guy? Why is I know that probably the people behind him pushing him to ask this question. You want everybody to, why are they so desperate for acceptance? I don't understand. Now na thief election, everybody knows. Now still they look for way to force people to accept una sham election and victory. I don't understand the question. Hey, na the workings na im dey matter, no be cho cho cho. I learned that new word on Twitter, so guys bear with me. I like that word. Show workings and cho cho cho. I love those two words. All they are doing is just trying to look for legitimacy, get it from everywhere possible. When they have the opportunity to ask opposition, especially anyone from Peter Obi camp, they want them to by force. Do you not accept? It's irritating. It's irritating. Omo, e no good to thief person property o. If this doesn't teach anybody any, this one go carry children sit down, you see why it's not good to steal people's property. You will never be recognized, you will never be appreciated. No matter what, you won't even know what to do because you won't have the sense to do it. This one suppose to be lesson for children. They'll say lesson number one, children, here's the reason why it's not a good idea to cheat your way into anything or steal what is not yours. Learn to accept failure and defeat honorably. There must always be a winner and there will always be a loser. If you're a loser, it just means that you have to do better next time. It doesn't mean you're a loser in life. Look at him, look at them struggling for validation. Hi, what a shame. Swear, God forbid. Hi.
you're Nigerian,
Yes.
and you said you have accepted this. Are you willing to move on and perhaps in some way help this government to succeed?
Very well.
If you are called today by the
Yes.
government of the day to work with them,
Yes.
would you take it?
Criticizing the government constructively is part of helping them.
But if
That
you
is
are
what I am
actively
doing.
Una dey hear dem dey use style take dey use journalists take dey ask, dey beg dem to come join dem. If Okonkwo Kenneth Okonkwo, as I like you reach, if you try am, if you take any position, even if na gate man position, even if na driver, which I know you are not going to, But if you by mistake the camp go dey follow dem dey share common flyer, that is it. All your credibility, everything, goodwill, when you don manage gather, everything go go down the drain. Because once you join this APC party, you donate your brain. You see the sharp way you are talking right now, you will not have that sharpness anymore. It will be gone. Don't remain opposition. That is where you are most effective. See am, dem dey use journalists dey beg people to come help dem work. Can you imagine? How do you work with in a group with a group of Alibaba and 40 thieves? How?
God to
Yes.
play a role, and an announcement is made that Kenneth Nkunko is taking this role in this government. Would you take it?
I am enjoying the role I'm playing now,
So you will not take
which
it.
is to critically analyze whatever they are doing and proffer solutions.
So well, you will not take any role.
My preference is what I am doing now,
To be a critic.
to be an opposition leader. So that's the job of the opposition leader.
So, but for the sake of the nation, would you be willing to work with this government?
I think the government needs more me. They need me. The government needs me more as an opposition leader.
Do you have a feeling that in some way that Nigeria is headed in the right direction under this government in the last 9 months?
Anarchy looms.
Where?
In Nigeria.
How do you mean?
Anarchy is defined as a state of disorder due to absence of or non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems. In this nation now, you could see the absence of government in the security and welfare of the people. Total absence. Let's take the issue of security. And you see why I always cry about rule of law. Anarchy is the absence of rule of law and the presence of state of nature, which Thomas Hobbes described as being characterized in a nation where life has become short, brutish, nasty, poor, and solitary. We are approaching the state of nature. Take the issue of security. More than 200 persons were massacred on the eve of Christmas in Plateau State. Where was your government? They were in Lagos celebrating Christmas party. Absence of government. Shown in March alone. And March has not reached. Today is 20th. So meaning within 2 weeks of March, more than 165 farmers have been killed and 3 billion naira demanded as ransom. Farmers. We have 109 senatorial zones in Nigeria, meaning for the first 2 weeks of March, average of more than one farmer has been killed in every senatorial zone. Absence of government. You have seen in this March how 287 innocent children and pupils, anybody confronting them, no security presence, absence of authority as anarchy.
Would you blame all of these on this present government?
You have some massacred. When this government came in, they gave their office, the villa with coat of arms, to a non-state actor to malign our officers, to call them thieves. Is it that bearing a wound in my heart that I defended some officers, court martial? Is for them by bandits, terrorists, So I am personally pained. You don't know the damage you're doing to the image of our armed forces, that you're allowing somebody to come to Aso Rock on the coat of arms, meaning he's bearing the effrontery of to call our military men thieves. Now you have seen that the people are now treating the military men as thieves, massacring and killing them when they just went to make peace in March alone. That can be described as March madness. In the Southeast, you saw how people went into the UNTH, Medical College, and abducted the deputy director and a security man. In the Southwest, you saw how 2 traditional leaders were killed, and they stretched their hand to Kwara and killed another traditional ruler. In Sokoto, you saw the way they were kidnapped. In Borno, we'll go to IDP camps. I've just mentioned the 6 geopolitical zones where it's safe. In FCT, Nabiha died. And this government, you see, these bandits do no longer recognize the authority of this government. That's why somebody has the effrontery to come out publicly and say, let me negotiate, let the government buy me to negotiate with the terrorists. That was why the terrorists kidnapped 287 persons and demanded 40 trillion naira as ransom. Why? They are looking at themselves as the government. That is anarchy, non-recognition of the authority of government. And we're talking only about security. You want to talk about the economy? And you will be amazed. And you want to talk about rule of law? The problem is that this government does not even articulate its policies before bringing it out. Look at the student loan scheme. A government on its own prepared the law, took it to the National Assembly. In National Assembly, it's not only appointees that take a bow and go. Even legislation take bows and go. The National Assembly, the photocopy, National Assembly, allowed the student loan scheme to take a bow and go. And the executive now discovered that they could not even implement it because the provisions are unimplementable. And nobody in the National Assembly even pointed it out. The executive had to go back to National Assembly to write another bill. Student loan scheme, their own policy. The bill was from them. And they confessed it was unimplementable by their own letter within 9 months. And the bow and go National Assembly, they still took the bill and told the amended bill to bow and go. First subsidy is gone. They are paying almost 1 trillion naira monthly on first subsidy. So what have they achieved apart from punishing the people? Employment, expatriate employment levy. They introduced it without even consulting Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. They have now removed it. They sanctioned Niger Republic. Ill-advisedly punished the whole 8 northern states, predominantly Muslims, in a Muslim ticket. And after 9 months, they removed it. The Republic said, no, we're not ready yet. You know why? Because you may have the right to declare when a war will commence, but you will not have the right to declare when it ends. This government is bereft of knowledge. That is why before you declare war, you would have to analyze how it will end and know whether you can go in. Nigeria is not Lagos where you sit down and you decree things and you expect it to work that way. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multinational society. And you have to factor in every interest. And you have to employ the utilitarian school of thought in your decisions and law. And this school of thought says you must look at how you will achieve the greatest happiness of all, or the greatest number of people whenever you want to make a policy. So if you are doing any policy that has 6 geopolitical zones, your aim is 4 geopolitical zones and above. This government, in terms of appointment, is just concentrating, not even on Southwest, on the Lagos axis of the Jagabanic proteges, tainted with the Emiloko philosophy. Just that axis alone. And you're thinking you want to command loyalty, national loyalty? You won't even get it from Southwest. You want to command national loyalty? As a management student, they taught me about bureaucratic sabotage. This government is going to have an avalanche of it. Now, bureaucratic sabotage means, for instance, I am a director in a company and I'm coming to my office. There is a bottle, broken bottle that I just saw. I know if I leave this bottle, it's going to pierce somebody and wound somebody. But I also know that I am not the cleaner. It's not my duty. So if I pretend I didn't see it, nobody is going to hold me responsible. But I just sabotage bureaucracy because that bottle will wound somebody and the image of the organization will not be done. So people will not sabotage you when they have a sense of belonging and when they have a sense of loyalty to you. So it is not every sabotage that is illegal. There are some sabotage that is inspirational. People will like, why would I die for this government? Why would I do this? It's not my job. But they needed to do it to help your government. That's why we need inspiring leaders. Leaders that can make people to do something that is right, even when they're not there.
Is that why you supported Peter Obi?
Absolutely.
You think Peter Obi is better than what we are having today?
An inspiring leader.
There are those who believe that Peter Obi does not even measure up.
He was there in Anambra State.
Those who will say you cannot compare Anambra and Lagos State, if that is the indice.
Good. You can compare the policies. You can compare the environment. When Peter Obi came into Anambra State, Anambra was coming last in education. The governor of Anambra State, the former governor, Chinwoke Mbadunuju, was the only governor that PDP did not allow to return for the second term. Only. So you can imagine the level of debt that Anambra State was suffering. People were massacred on the street, including the chairman of MBA. Security was terrible. Infrastructure was comatose. Education was appalling. Peter Obi came in, turned the whole situation. Within 2 years, 3 years, Anambra was coming first. The medical facilities, golden. Infrastructure, superb. He changed it from consumption to production. That even some of his opponents that don't know what to say, they're accusing him that he invested Anambra State money in some companies that are yielding something for Anambra State today. He met nothing in Anambra State. He saved so much that the subsequent governor used part of it to build an international airport, by his own confession. You don't compare gold with carrots.
Is that what you would say between Peter Obi and Bola Tinubu? There are those who say Anambra does not measure up. You can't measure Anambra and Lagos State by every standard.
You know, when you want to judge a man, you judge him by his antecedents. You know what happened in Lagos? The Emiloko philosophy is familitocracy. Have you ever seen Peter Obi receive any land in Anambra State? He rejected every land, including the one he's entitled to. Go to Lagos State. You know better than myself. Some people describe the owners of Lagos as the largest landowners in the whole of West Africa. Go to Lagos. The same dynasty has been ruling from 1999. Wife, senator, daughter, Yagbegbe, son. Even as the leader of Nigeria, the same pattern.
I mean, you're making allegations of nepotism. That's
It's not allegations, the facts are there.
That this government is nepotistic?
Something worse than nepotistic.
Is that fair to say?
Familitocracy. You know what it means when you place your children in order of protocol before ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? What do you call that? What do you call that? I saw. What is that? You know what it means when you put your wife at par with the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in terms of manpower, in terms of security? Have you seen a Michelle Obama being involved in the political process of America? Let me tell you, I thought Buhari's regime was going to be the worst. In 9 months, this government has surpassed it. Let me tell you, this government started from the man himself, to the wife, to the sons, using the private jet to attend parties, desecrating the hollow chamber of leadership. Talk about the daughters, talk about the sons-in-laws, the daughters-in-laws. Then before you go to the daughters and sons of friends, what do you call that? What leadership system is that? It's a country that has 6 geopolitical zones. And you're just appointing only the people from that your little clique. And you're expecting loyalty.
This government, Mr. Okonkwo, said, look, we're making some policies that might be painful in the moment, but it's going to be like the pangs of childbearing. In the end, it's going to be some joy. Are you hopeful of the possibility that this process is just momentary? At the end of the day, there's light at the end of the tunnel in all of these policies that this government is putting in place.
If your wife is pregnant, and after the pangs of childbirth, she gave birth to a monster, would you rejoice? All their policies have been giving birth to monsters, not children. You told us fuel subsidy is gone. And after punishing the people, the fuel subsidy is remaining. What have you given birth to? Monster. You told us you're unifying the dual foreign exchange. And after a while, Naira has become worthless. Even less valid and the safer. And you again, you're telling us, no, that's not the true reflection of the value of Naira. And you are the one who voluntarily devalued the Naira to that level. Is that childbirth? No, that is a monster. You told us that you're imposing sanctions on Niger Republic so that they would go back to democracy. Have they gone to democracy? You lifted the sanction. What have you achieved? You punished the 8 states of the north from Kebbi to Sokoto, to Zamfara, to Jigawa, to Katsina, to Yobe, to Borno. You brought all of them, punished them immensely. And after 8 months without achieving anything, is that childbirth? No, childbirth is that you gave birth to something new. When thesis and antithesis meet, they give birth to synthesis. That is something new, childbirth. Not when you finish punishing the people and you go back to a situation that is worse than they were when you started the policy. That is monster. So this government, the pangs of childbirth have been a punishment. You're telling people to be patient. And you're wearing a watch worth of millions while you're telling people to be patient. Is that childbirth? You're telling people to be patient. You say you want to, implement or run sign and report. And you have 48 ministers. Even Murtala Mohammed, when he became head of state, Alan, the first thing he did was to purge himself. To say, look, this is not right. I'll start with myself. If you want to implement such things like Orosanya, start with yourself. Orosanya is about cutting the cost of governance. So where is the childbirth in this? No, it's not childbirth. It is monster. I can tell you, with all the pains in a woman, if she gives birth and she discovers she has given birth to a monster, she herself will run away. Nigerians are running away from these so-called policies because they are simply punishing the people for nothing. 2,000 naira for $1, and you say it's a childbirth. No, it's a monster.
So you don't believe there is hope?
I've always said there is renewed hopelessness. That's what I am seeing.
Why are you so pessimistic?
I am not pessimistic. That's the best optimism you can give, so that they can even see whether they can change. When they removed first subsidy, I say reverse it that day. And they said I was pessimistic. What's happening today? Why people did not die of hunger then was they had savings. And then they deceived them that over a little while, these things will be okay. They are no longer deceiving them. They finished their savings. It's not okay. And you see, they've already started preparing their mind that, look, even if the refinery start working, that does not mean the price will fall. Then what is the childbirth that you have given birth to? That's a monster. You just gave birth to a monster.
You perhaps have in your mind that if
Yes.
Peter Obi was the president, things would have been different.
Things would have been sweet.
If Peter Obi was the president.
Yes, because when Peter Obi tells you sacrifice, you will see the sacrifice by himself first.
But you supported a Buhari
Yes.
got into office.
Yes.
There are those who believe that Buhari government led us into this mess.
Good. Buhari's government was good from 2015 to 2019. And now, you grow every day. That has taught me about the need for the independence of the legislature. Buhari's government they were not allowed to borrow against the law because there was a Saraki and Dogara who were independent of the executive. In 2015 to 2019, that was when you heard Boko Haram was technically defeated. Everything was moving towards the right direction. I entered APC 2016. So the last duty I did with APC publicly was 2018. After 2019, and we had the rubber stamp National Assembly, that was when everything went sour. The 22 trillion naira you are hearing, ways and means, most of them were done within from 2019 to 2023. Everything evil. That was when everything went haywire. Security and all this, because there was a rubber stamp National Assembly who will agree to whatever they bring. But it was not like that in the first term. So when this government came in, and it's not just being rubber stamp, but photocopy, I knew the government was gone.
So you blame the Ahmed Lawan and Femi Gbajabiamila leadership of the National Assembly for the failure of the Buhari government in the second term.
Do you know the only reason that you have legislature is to check and balance the excesses of the executive? The only reason. And look at how much we are wasting on the legislature, and yet they cannot do the job. They contributed substantially to what happened to that regime.
Do you regret supporting Buhari?
No, I don't.
Would you still support him if you had your
dictionary? There is no word like regret. I wrote a dictionary and sent it to Oxford. They looked at it, they returned it and said they will not approve it. And I resisted and petitioned them. And they said it's because they checked my dictionary and the word regret was not there. So I don't have any word regret in my dictionary. You learn from your mistakes.
So it was a mistake supporting Buhari?
No. As at the time I supported him, he was doing things right.
If you had the opportunity of going back to the APC, would you take it?
Disaster duo. That sucks. Fleas and ticks suck too. Seresto can help with this one. The #1 vet recommended flea and tick collar for 8 continuous months. Stop sucking with Seresto.
I've always said I don't belong to the category of using the word never, because as a theologian, you are arrogating God to yourself. It's only God that knows tomorrow. I don't have that intention. I don't have that inclination. But I am the last to say never, because never belongs to God. If you allow me to say, I'll say I will not. But I will not say never, because never belongs to God.
You've been wanting to become Enugu State governor.
Yes,
You still have that ambition.
Whoever is in politics can no longer pretend he's not interested in power. What do you want to use the power for? That is what will guide you and drive you. However, presently, I do not have any intention for any political office. I am more focused on my job as a lawyer, my litigation, my businesses, and then trying to ensure that we have a new Nigeria. Because you have to secure the ground first before looking for the mat.
So you might still go back to wanting to become governor of Enugu State, but not for now.
As far as I am concerned, with me, anything can happen tomorrow. It's in the hand of God.
But today,
I am not interested
in becoming governor of Enugu State.
Today, I am not.
Let me take you to the politics of your party. Your party is in disarray, the Labour Party. You see what is happening?
Yes,
you are one of those calling for the head of Julius Abure. Why?
I don't know whether you're right. But I know that I said I disagree with the clandestine nature of the way they want to handle the issue of national convention. I find it unconstitutional and I find it unconventional. And the way they're going about it, I find it very abusive and uncharacteristic of Labour Party. Let me tell you one provision of the Constitution of Labour Party I admire so much. In the aims and objectives of the party, Article 8C of the Constitution, he said the aim of this party should be to create a new Nigerian personality who is patriotic, altruistic, transparent, committed to due process and rule of law in governance, in industry, and in other aspects of our national life. So anything you're doing in Labour Party and is not transparent, and you're not being selfless, and you're not being patriotic, and you're not committed to the rule of law and due process, sorry, that falls short of the constitutional requirement of Labour Party. Do you know I saw the notice of the convention in the social media like any other person? And I was the one who was calling the executive to confirm before I even tell people that it is true that they fixed a national convention. I saw it in the social media. Is political party an occultic clandestine society?
Are you a card-carrying member of the Labour Party?
Yes, I am.
You joined from your state in Enugu State?
Very well. After they came to Abuja to register me, even my ward chairman from Nsukka sent a representative. I went to the national headquarters and then went back to my ward and completed the registration. So I am a member of Labour Party.
What, I mean, if there are those who think that the Labour Party chairman assumed office illegally, you agree with that argument?
Assumed office illegally, I will disagree. Because I know that when the other chairman died, the National Executive Council met and chose him to become the chairman, which is constitutional. By virtue of Article 13, 2B, XVI, the National Executive Council can fill any gap in between national convention. They can also discipline anybody. You know what? The seat of the administration of Labour Party is not in the National Working Committee. It's in the National Executive Council. The National Working Committee, for instance, has no power whatsoever in anything that has to do with national convention. If you check the Constitution, Article 13.3b, you will not find the phrase national convention mentioned in one of the functions of the National Working Committee. The power is bestowed 100% on the National Executive Council.
So what they are doing right now is illegal
and unconstitutional. And when they talk about NLC, I feel very, very sad. Is either they are doing it mischievously or they are doing it ignorantly. The time you say NLC, first of all, what they said about Joe Ajero, that Joe Ajero is doing what he's doing because he's interested in the executive positions in National Working Committee.
and that you are one of those Joe Ajero is planning to use to foist as leadership on the party.
Whoa, the new iPhone 15. With that amazing camera, I wish my family had them.
Zoe, you're an
You know why I'm laughing? I do not have any communication with any member of the Nigerian Labour Congress. None. I've never sat down one-on-one to discuss with Joe Ajero about Labour Party. A few occasions I met him, we exchanged pleasantries. Very few occasions, and everybody left. But let me tell you the people that are doing the wrong thing. I hate when people approbate and reprobate. When the renegade faction went to the secretariat and threw out Abure and his officers, it was still the same Joe Ajero that mobilized the Nigerian Labour Congress under the correct position that Nigerian Labour Congress is a factor in Labour Party, and that you people that came in from the back door. It was still this Joe Ajero that mobilized people and went to the National Assembly and threw those people out and restored Julius Abure and his members. And now they are turning back when the same Joe Ajero and NLC use the same method, because they are saying what you're doing is illegal and unconstitutional, to preserve and protect the integrity and sanctity of the secretariat, like they did before. Now you're in the receiving end. You're now saying all the things you don't know. Let me tell you, NLC is part and parcel of the National Executive Council and even the National Working Committee.
Statutorily.
Sure, not as an organization, but the Constitution gave them power to elect one of the national deputy chairman. Must be from NLC, one from TUC. As members, do you know that the presidents and secretaries of labor centers are members of the National Executive Council statutorily? I am talking about Article 13
of the Labour Party Constitution.
It is here. A National Working Committee. That's why we have 3 deputy national chairmen in Labour Party. One of them must be from NLC, the other from TUC. One must be a woman. Women leaders of labor centers are members of the National Executive Council.
They are accusing Joe Ajero of,
Yes.
bearing a presidential ambition, and that's why he's doing all of this to the Labour Party.
First of all, I find it laughable. And you know why? Is it because of what is happening that they are bringing the blackmail? You know, when you say they want to pencil me down. Yeah, I think I was watching your show, was it yesterday? And when I heard my name, I was looking around to know that there is another Kenneth Ogongo. I think the guy just likes dropping my name. Maybe my name gives him vitamin kwekwe, and he just can't stop it if he believes that it derives some essential nutrients from mentioning it. So he just can't stop it. And me being a lawyer that allows people to have their freedom, you know. But you know what? I do not succumb to the blackmail of professional troublemakers. What do you expect from them? They feed from the crisis. So they will always blackmail. When Joe Ajero was defending them, you saw Abure standing by the side of Joe Ajero. Joe Ajero was the king, this and that. Now I saw what that person, you just mentioned his name. I saw what he said. He's now talking about making as if he's now rapporting the Abure faction. You know why? Because the Court of Appeal just nullified them. And please, when you call them again and use the word faction, you are rendering yourself liable to be sued, because the Court of Appeal has thrown weigh their case. That's why you did not hear him mention again interim order. You didn't hear him saying Abure forged or did not forge. Now he's saying there are one party. Heard him. And then it's now Joy Jero that is the criminal. It's not NLC. These people do not have principles. They feed on crisis.
So you think that Julius Abure's time as national chairman of the party is over and go?
Now,
is that what you think?
Now, constitutionally, if he believes that he has the right to contest under a free and fair convention, I heard them saying that they want to go to national convention first, rather than starting from the word. Maybe they forgot that in the constitution of Labour Party, that delegates from the state congress are part of the national convention. Maybe they forgot. And again, most of these people from the ward level are appointed. How can appointed people come to elect people in the national convention? You can't give what you don't have. There has to be, because Labour Party is now growing. So you have to build the structures from the ward level. You do your ward level congress, you do your state congress. Then if he organizes free and fair convention, if he presents himself, which he has the constitutional right to do, if he wins, because what I am interested in is due process and rule of law.
But you think in your mind that Julius Abure should go?
If I were Julius Abure, I would not contest to be the chairman of Labour Party.
Why?
I mean, the renegade group has alleged that you forged things. The former acting national chairman, a woman, has alleged that you forged things. Some candidates that offered themselves for election under Labour Party have alleged you forged something. Your national treasurer has alleged you forged something. The NLC, who is a prominent member, has alleged you forged something. Let me tell you, in politics, you win by perception. It is when you go to court that you begin to talk about facts and evidence and law. But in politics, the perception is not just right for you. If I were in his position, I would not contest. I am really surprised that he was even contemplating, after all these things, to contest. What perception are we going to have, the Labour Party, when we say we want people who not only that they are not corrupt, but they are incorruptible? Obi has been a governor for 8 years, has been the chairman of banks, held certain positions of trust. How many people have accused him of forging anything?
Why has Peter Obi not spoken up about this matter?
When you see Peter Obi, you ask him.
You are his friend.
Yes, and he's a spokesperson.
You don't think that if he speaks on this matter, this might actually heal what has become sort of a disgrace and a bad reputation for the Labour Party?
Everybody has his own method and methodology of dealing with things. I am an entertainer, I'm an actor. He's a businessman. We may share the same principles and objectives, but we may not share the same temperament. Allow him to use his own method, just as he should allow me to use mine. So when you see him, you ask him.
I will, definitely. To wrap this up, I'd like to take you to the politics of the southeast region of the country. This agitation that we see quite often, the IPOP, the Biafran agitation, how best do you think this can be resolved?
Give those people a sense of belonging. They need it.
How do you do that?
Cole, he's my miracle child. So how does your miracle child get cancer?
When the war finished, you promised them reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. 50-something years after, you're contemplating in the National Assembly whether you will do it. And these are properties. They are hard-earned properties destroyed by Nigerians. Who told them to go? That they don't want them to belong in the same country. Not that they wanted to go. They decimated our people and destroyed our properties. They promised reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, and they failed. In the Northeast, it was the people from Northeast that became brainwashed, and they destroyed all their things by themselves. And you immediately set up a Northeast Development Commission. Even before the crisis ends. Even some of the ones that are built to rehabilitate are even still being destroyed. And going to 60-something years or thereabout, or 50-something, you have not reconciled these people. Bring them in, give them sense of belonging, integrate them politically. Is it by accident that from 1966, when Thomas Omonakwe Aguiyi-Ironsi, Major General, was decimated, till today, Nigeria has been going down politically, socially, culturally, economically? Don't you think that if you integrate these people with their craft, with their engineering method, with their natural resilience, don't you think they are going to recreate this country for the betterment of everybody? When you do such a thing that you promise you will do, when you rehabilitate them, when you reconcile them by integrating them adequately into the political system and giving them what they ought to have. They are a majority tribe in this country. When you do that, reconciliation, rehabilitation, reconstruction, you will see those agitation dying naturally. I am a nationalist, but I am a realist. So as I am believing in Nigeria, it has to be a Nigeria built on equity, justice, and fairness.
How would you think that the government of the day should handle the Nnamdi Kanu matter?
As a lawyer, I would not want to comment on a case that is before the court, but I think political settlement will go a long way to bring about lasting peace on that issue.
If Nnamdi Kanu today is released and there is a political settlement, you think it will kill the agitation in the Southeast?
That's a hypothetical question. I may not be able to answer that.
But you have opined this afternoon,
yes,
that this idea of the Biafran agitation can be quelled,
yes,
if people are reconciled. That I'm
yes,
asking that the man who is at the forefront of this agitation,
yes,
you saying that a political settlement will help.
yes.
And I'm asking you, is that a way to go?
That's what I'm saying.
If, for example, Nnamdi Kanu is released.
If you bring out 1 million persons and you still do not reconcile, rehabilitate, and reconstruct these people, you're still going to have a problem.
If you've been in a car accident, don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead. That's it.
Is creating a 6th state in the Southeast going to be part of?
It will help.
Politically, what other means?
Like I said, why wouldn't you constructively accede the position of the presidency to these people?
To the Southeast?
Yes, it was done in 1999.
If Peter Obi if Peter Obi had become the president of Nigeria, yes, you think the Biafran agitation would die naturally?
It will go a long way.
Really?
Very well. We talked about June 12th. It was becoming intractable. When Obasanjo became president, the ghost of June 12th was exorcised. If Peter Obi were to be president, the ghost of the Biafran agitation will be exorcised. Take it from me.
Kenneth Onwoko, lawyer.
Kenneth
Okonkwo. Okonkwo.
You know why I forgive you? The first day I tried to call Kibaloy.
You fumbled and mumbled.
You know.
Thank you so much. I'll try as much as possible. I think I've pronounced even more technically difficult names than Okonkwo. And for someone who studied literature, I've met more Okonkwo.
Absolutely.
And I've acted Okonkwo in my life.
I'm going to teach you how you will never make a mistake again.
Okay.
Oko. The first one doesn't have W.
Oko.
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 Nkwo.
Nkwo.
Good.
Oko. Nkwo.
Good. So the first one doesn't have a W. The second one has a W.
Anoma. Anamabia.
You know,
On the map. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
What a lovely conversation we've had with Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo. Thank you so much indeed for your time today. I appreciate it. And that's our podcast.
Never a dull moment with Kenneth Okonkwo. Really thoroughly enjoyed this man. I agree with you, John. Never a dull moment with him at all. Look at the way he dissected everything. Look at the way he dissected everything. This man is such an actor. I mean, the way he even his mannerisms, his conjectures, everything is such a pleasure, such a delight to see. By the way, this Okonkwo, Oriyomi báwo ni o, ẹ̀gbọ́n àbí? My brother, greetings specially. Oh, how you dey now? How's your neck of the woods? I hope you're doing great. Honestly, it's such a great time, such a delight to hear him. Oh my God. I say this man, God will bless him. When they kept pressing him, when Shehu kept pressing him about whether he would join this party to help bring the country forward, my head wan scatter. Say this man try am. Anybody wey make mistake, Peter Obi o, Ahmed Dati o, the real people, Kenneth Okonkwo, and all the people wey we know, the core people, if dem by mistake, look, these people are more effective as opposition right now, more than anything else. I don't care how much they are promising to give you, it will amount to dust. It will amount to dust, because we have a country to rescue, and your names will be written in gold and platinum in the sands of time forever. No amount of money can buy that. No amount of money can buy your integrity, your car. No amount. I don't care how much money, I don't care how much gold, I don't care what the luxury is. Man, nothing beats you standing your ground and saying, this is what I believe in, even if you have to be a lone voice. My goodness, that's the best way to go. If they by mistake corner, otitan, forget. I'm telling you, Okonkwo, Okori, Okafor, Okweke. What are you doing, Kene? I know that you dey help us pronounce am. You dey teach Shehu how to pronounce am. Ewapa, that's good, wonderful. Abi, na so now, na try, we go try you, my brother. Na try, everybody dey try, no only. Kí la fẹ́ ṣe? We go do the one wey we fit do. I don't know if anybody wants to come into the studio for a little bit before I wrap this up, but I mean, I'm so glad I came out when I did, because I was thinking, I was hesitating. I say, it was the paternity fraud issue that first gingered me. I was like, what the heck is going on? Kilo day, what is going on? And then I see some comments of women saying, it's still his child now. Come on, bẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run. Women, my gender, please fear God. Fear God. How can you say, men, if DNA confirms the baby is not yours, it doesn't change the fact that you must take responsibility of it? What kind of ignorant ass statement is that? What kind of dumb statement is this? Now wow, make people dey careful. Humanity first. No matter what your sentiments are, humanity first. How can you do this to another fellow human and you expect them to just swallow it and take it like that? Like I said, there are other instances. There are some things that happen that we probably will never know the full story of it, but come on now. This is not good at all. This is not good. Anyway, my people, the Nigerian situation is still going on. I'm sure some of you saw the videos of, hey, I don't even know if I should share the video. But you see what your Egbekegbe party, your APC, your Mikano has turned people's mothers into. Let me bring the video here. God, these people. Evil, evil, evil. What they've turned people's mothers into. Eh? To be beggy, lining up to collect 1,000. Ah, God. Ah, let me bring the video here. Make I no talk too much. It's sad though. It really is sad. I no go lie. It's quite sad to see. I mean, while they claim that they have. Here is the video. Hi. Such a shame. Eh? How can you old women like this? You dey 1,000, now you dey carry give them with half, maybe like 3 or 4 cups. My God. Look at what they've turned people's parents into, people's grandparents and great grandparents on top of food. Eh? This is what they want to turn them to Amajiris, where they are just handing stuff to them. 1,000. What is 1,000 naira? What can 1,000 naira buy for you in Nigeria? To show you how wicked these people are. Evil resides in them. Eh? Evil resides in them, for crying out loud. People's parents, people's great grandparents, they are kneeling down for you. Kneel down. They collect 1,000 from your hand. You sef dey, ah, God. Omo, I no know, Nigeria matter, eh? We go continue to dey talk about am o. Hopefully the dam go break one day and all of us go know wetin to do, but until den, na sit down look the monkey business. We go sha dey talk dey go. Na the power wey we get be dat. We have to continue to talk, to sensitize, to shout if we need to keep talking and echoing and re-echoing. Because I don't know. It gets worse and worse. Did you guys hear that there was a letter that came out? They were claiming that they have released the 247 children that were kidnapped. May I read the letter for now? The office of the governor, Sir Kashim Ibrahim House, Kaduna, Kuriga school children released. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful, I wish to announce that our Kuriga school children have been released. Our special appreciation goes to our president, Bats, for prioritizing the safety and security of Nigerians and particularly ensuring that the abducted Kuriga school children are released unharmed. My question is, how much did they pay? And when they say the children, where are the pictures to show that? Where are the pictures? Where are the videos? We are yet to see that. While the school children were in captivity, he spoke with his president several times. He shared his pain, comforted him, and worked around the clock with him to ensure the safe return of the children. Special mention must also be made of his dear brother, the National Security Adviser, Nuhu Ribadu, for his exemplary leadership. He spent um, sleepless nights with Ribadu, fine-tuning strategies and coordinating the operations of the security agencies, which eventually resulted in the successful outcome. The Nigerian army also deserves special record. Oh my God, these people are jokers. Hey God, oh, Nigeria and names and attention. I never see ego. You are congratulating the president that did not, that everything fell on his deaf ears. 247 children, you say you don't find them, no picture, no video. You just a type letter. How do you want the people to believe you? How do we know it is true? How do we know it's not your usual propaganda? Because you people and propaganda is 5 and 6. It is 5 and 6. You say one, we believe 1,000, because you are always lying, always lies to the people. How are we sure that you really release the two? They really gave up 287. What about the women? What about the 300 women? No video, no picture, nothing. You just come, mouthpiece, come and mouth to the people. This is what you did, this is what you achieved. Well, we shall will continue to talk. We will not be silent. We will continue to talk until the right thing starts to happen, until we start to see things literally begin to turn around, make a turn for the good. We shall not be silent. Okay, my people, it's been real, oh. It's been real, it's been real. I say make I come here, come quickly talk, and the thing don turn to another thing. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for showing up. I appreciate you for spending your Sunday with me. I know most of you are supposed to be chilling and relaxing today, but you spend the time to come. I appreciate that. More na like and share on your way out. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to subscribe. Let's keep moving the ministry, because this is our own platform now. This is where we have our voice and do what and say what we want unabated. So, all right. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you all. Enjoy the rest of your day, oh, and don't look for trouble, oh. Bye.